Welcome. I am Rachel Strabley. I'm a consulting hypnotist, and I'm here today with Sharon Lewis, who is a business coach.
And today we're talking about how to break through business barriers. All kinds of things cause us to get stuck in our businesses, but we are going to talk about some strategies and mindset and ways around that. And so specifically today, we're going to talk about motivation, or more importantly, lack of motivation, and how to get around that, get going again, and some tips and tricks on getting motivation back in your day. So there are actually two different types of motivations. One is intrinsic. Those are the things that we do, the internal rewards, that the activity itself is its own reward. I think those are things that are easier to get excited about and more motivated with, because it's more of an internal satisfaction. Extrinsic motivation are things that you're doing, either to avoid pain or to get a reward, whether that's money or grades or whatever. So sometimes those are a little bit more driving, because it is coming from an external perspective. But the more motivated you are from both perspectives, both internally and externally, it makes it easier to get started and to get moving with the things that you need to do. So lots of reasons why we can lose motivation. Today would be an excellent example. Had a week's vacation. It's kind of hard to get motivated again, right? So Rachel, what reasons have you come across with your clients for lack of motivation?
Definitely overwhelm and self-doubt. And with the overwhelm, we focus on seeing it, breaking the word overwhelm down. The word overwhelm, it just feels like a heavy blanket and doesn't give us options. So if we break it down into challenges, what challenges do you have today? Then we can break it down into which challenges can be addressed more efficiently or sooner than later. And it just takes a lot of stress out of the day when we lose the word overwhelm altogether. How about you?
A lot of times when things aren't going as well as we expected, I'll have clients who lose motivation just because it's easier to focus on the problems that you're having than it is on the successes that you've had. Particularly most people in general, a lot of people, that's all they focus on is the negative. So a lot of times it's reconnecting with the wins. I had a client in the past, couple clients, where we start the conversation when we're coaching with what went well in the last 2 weeks. So so starting off on that foot rather than focusing on what went wrong.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it sometimes, and we do this in goal setting, right? So that's part of the goal setting process, is making small achievable goals. Those little wins help you get in the mental mindset of, I can do this, and moving you forward and showing that you've made progress. So trying to get out of that. I think some other lack of motivation that I've come across with clients is the one that says not being satisfied with what you've done. I think a lot of small business owners are perfectionists, and they get stuck in the kind of mindset that it has to be perfect. And I always like the perfection is the enemy of good. Right. So you can't quite finish anything. You get like 95% done and it's not perfect. So you set it aside, and then you're not accomplishing things, and it's hard to go back to it and finish it off. But lots of different reasons, and it's different for everybody, I think. And some days, it's one thing that is bringing you down, and some days it's something else.
This is
Um,
true.
but so how do you, if your clients are lacking motivation, how do you work with them?
So we decide how we want to start the day, first of all. You can start the day waking up to your alarm and hitting the snooze button 3 times, or you can turn the alarm off and get straight out of bed. And that is something when you do turn the alarm off and jump straight out of bed or crawl, however you want to do it, that's something that's a win. And so you start your day off with a win. It seems too simple. However, it really affects the way you feel during the day.
Great. I think I have a lot of clients where I will counsel them to like review their to-do list for the day. Some of it is making sure that things are realistic. You have realistic expectations for the day. Nothing's worse than, expecting yourself to do far more than you can accomplish in an 8-hour workday. But also breaking it into those, taking those goals and breaking them down into smaller actions so that you've made some progress and move things along. Um,
What time of day is this when they wake up, they're reviewing, or
That's a good question. It's actually, it depends on the person.
mm,
So I have some clients who will do it on the weekend and review everything for the week. I personally do it in the morning. It a lot of it is just it's time management
mm,
skills. It's figuring out what works for you. And everybody's a little different. So it's when you have the most energy and focus to be able to do that. And then just creating a routine and sticking to it. We should probably talk about habits at in one of our conversations sometime. But yeah, it could be the night before. It's whatever works.
I've just gotten into a routine of the night before, just jotting down whatever's coming up the next day so that I'm not thinking about it while I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's lots of ways to do it. It's just finding one that works for you, and it may take several iterations to find that habit that makes a difference for you. So starting off your day, and we both talked a little bit about, making an effort to do something that will feel like a win. Um, it's just getting started sometimes, right?
Exactly. And I mean, if you have your list of things that you need to do, you can see immediately what's going to take 1 minute and what's going to take a lot more focus, maybe an hour or a couple of hours. And checking off the 1 minute things like sending that email, replying, making a phone call, maybe that's a few more than a minute, but these are all wins. If you're in the habit of checking things off, you can see very soon how successful your day is going, and then you can tackle the larger um, the thing that takes the larger amount of time. Although we both know there's that book, Eat the Frog, do the big things
Yep.
first. But if you're feeling unmotivated, I think the smaller things are better for you.
Yeah, you have to create that energy of getting the little wins. I think as far as like the bigger things, some of it going back to the time management stuff is figuring out when you have the most energy, right? Some people are morning people, some people don't get really going until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And scheduling the things on your calendar that take more energy and effort and focus for the time of day when you operate the best. Maybe shift things around a little bit. This just takes some insight into how you operate as a person, and as a business owner, we have more control over our schedules than a lot of people do. So if we've got the opportunity to change things so that it works better for you, making that little bit of a shift. Um,
I, I want to also just drop in there a reward for your win.
mhm.
So, it could be as simple as a yoga stretch or going for a walk. If you have time for that, just make it, eh, you know, something else that's going to make you feel good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
it can
And
get.
I think even in bigger goals, making sure that you're celebrating, right? So it's the
Mhm.
celebration, no matter what that might be. It might be dinner. Yours tend to be like stretching and walking. You're like, go buy something. But
Buy some.
buy something. Yeah. But really recognizing that you have made an accomplishment,
Mhm,
um, and building that into the process as well as recognizing and celebrating.
mhm.
So, um, so for this one, you want to talk a little bit about patience and how to bring patience into your day?
Sure. So, you know, most people, when they don't achieve what they think they're going to achieve, and as you said earlier, unrealistic expectations of what you can fit into a day, and then they get frustrated, and then solutions get blocked, creativity gets blocked. So, in order to, um, bring solutions back into the day, improve your creativity, just take some moments and be patient with yourself. Give yourself some compassion. It is not wasting time to sit there for 5 minutes with your eyes closed. It is actually very beneficial. So, and you can listen to a meditation if you want to, or a mini hypno boost if you've got 10, 15 minutes, just to allow your brain to switch off and then be open to receiving the solutions, the energy, the creativity, whatever it is you need to bring back.
Yeah, right. We tend to be our own worst critics, right? So I think everybody needs to recognize
Definitely.
that some days you just need to give yourself some slack.
Yes,
You can't be perfect all the time. You can't be on all the time. Some days you just need to do something else instead.
this is true. But and when it's your own business, you are coming up with ideas 24/7. It's that's just the entrepreneur mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's important to let it switch off for a little bit.
Yep. Yeah. And so one thing we haven't touched on yet is days or weeks when you're really not motivated is really trying to reconnect with why you're doing what you're doing. It's thinking about what the vision it was for the business, what you wanted your role to be in the business, but getting back to that, why are we doing what we're doing? What's the impact you're having on others? What's the impact you're having on yourself and your family? And thinking about that as motivation to start doing what you need to do, right? So
And how do you connect your clients with their why? Do you have a process?
so a lot of it is strategic planning. So most clients we do strategic plan up front, which is really getting them to think about why they're doing what they're doing. So we always have that as a tool to go back to of you know reviewing why they when we went through this whole process of what they were excited about the business, and really just going back to that and taking them through that again to picture what they would like their lifestyle to be with the business, what the business would do for them. So that is mostly it, because I mean we do put a fair amount of effort into that why up front.
Hmm.
How do you do that?
With visualization, during a hypnosis session, we'll visualize their why, and I do a um, forgive me. I ask them to envision their higher self and see where their higher self is going. And sometimes it's further than what they think they can go themselves. So that gives them something to reach toward, and also to envision what they'll be doing with their newfound success. And they can create a vision board on their own time or join one of my groups. And um, yeah, just keeping it in the mind and suggesting that they go ahead and daydream their
Mhm.
their vision at any time they feel they need a refresher reminder.
Yeah. Simon Sinek has a really good TED talk that's like 18 minutes long that is all about your why. And that's definitely worth listening to. I think I've listened to it a couple times. But he gives a good overview of, figuring out what your why is and making sure that that's built into what you're doing in your business as well. So it's not just, making the donuts, it's why am I making the donuts?
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. So can you just review what some of our tips?
Yeah, so, if you're able to start your day with some excitement, do not hit the snooze button and see how you feel about, getting out of bed when you want to get out of bed. 5 or 10 minutes to sit quietly or listen to some music, a meditation, a hypnosis, to allow your brain to reconnect and find the solutions that you need. Being patient with yourself. And yeah, keeping your vision, your why, and focus on the small steps that you have accomplished and the larger steps that you've accomplished throughout your time in your business, and keep moving forward. Anything to add?
No, I think a lot of it is just trying to diagnose why you don't have motivation today, or what it is why you're stuck, right? So going back to that list that we had in the beginning of all the reasons people might get stuck and not have motivation, just trying to figure out. So like, are you comparing yourself to others and setting unrealistic expectations, but trying to figure that out and then using that information to help you decide what it is you're going to do in order to break out of it and get yourself motivated again.
Exactly. Stop comparing.
Yeah, that one
We didn't touch on that, but you just said it, so stop comparing.
Yeah, it's can't keep up with everybody else. Also, I think the problem with comparing now is it's too easy on social media. But people really only post the very happy, positive stuff. And I've had clients saying, well, why is this person doing so well? I'm like, you haven't, unless you've actually seen their profit and loss statement and their home life, you don't know that they're doing that well. It's all, perception and like whatever facade they're putting up in the first place. So yeah, the comparing yourself to others is just a bad path. But both Rachel and I have some more tips on dealing with motivation on our websites, and all of our contact information is on here with some free tools that you can access. And with that, I think our next talk is on, what is our next talk on? Focus, because I couldn't focus. So, but thank you, Rachel. It was nice talking to you about motivation.
Thank you, Sharon.
I think it's really cool how the two approaches overlap quite a bit.
Definitely. It's all about using the power of your mind.
Yep.